Now, I'm not really too sure how I've made it this many years without doing this video, but we're re-signing the NHL to the original 6. We only have 6 NHL teams: the New York Rangers, the Chicago Blackhawks, the Detroit Red Wings, Toronto Maple Leafs, Boston Bruins, and Montreal Canadiens. I'm going to be rebuilding the Chicago Blackhawks through a fantasy draft, but things are going to get very interesting. And things are going to get a lot more interesting considering Quinn Hughes went first overall. Well, you might be thinking, well, that selection doesn't really make too much sense. Quinn Hughes plays for the Vancouver Canucks. Clearly, that's not an original 6 team. We're using the original 6 teams. That doesn't mean only players from the original 6 are included. We have every player in the NHL available in the fantasy draft here, and they drafted Quinn Hughes over Connor McDavid. So with the 2nd overall pick, Connor McDavid, welcome to the team. That's who we're going to be walking away with. Now, in a video like this, unfortunately, I do have to turn the salary cap off, because if I kept it on, after about 7 selections, you're just bringing in rookies and you're bringing in players who are only making $750K. All the top players in the league right now are getting paid big money. So if you give me $9 million players, we've now used about 75% of the salary cap. Clearly, we wouldn't be able to rebuild the original 6 team if we had the salary cap on. But as we saw, Connor McDavid was selected with the 2nd overall pick. And who do I want to add to his side? I was looking at Mikko Rantanen, but you know what? I want a superstar scorer. Give me David Pastrnak. But you know what? We better chill out here, because there's clearly one thing Connor McDavid needs, and it's one thing he hasn't had so far in his 10-year NHL career: a superstar goaltender. Now, Connor Hellebuyck, I can't go with you, because you were getting lit up by the St. Louis Blues right now. Like, I mean lit up. In the past 2 games in St. Louis, you got pulled both times. The St. Louis Blues are lighting you up. We've evened up the series. Nah, don't sleep on the St. Louis Blues right now. So clearly, there's only one right selection we can go with here, and somebody who I think could potentially be on the Oilers next season: NHL 25 Thatcher Demko. Yes, I am taking NHL 25 Thatcher Demko in the 3rd round. Was that the right decision? Absolutely not. But we need NHL 25 Thatcher Demko on our team. Like, I truly believe Thatcher Demko will be on the Edmonton Oilers next season, because the Vancouver Canucks re-signed Kevin Lankinen, so you don't need 2 goaltenders. If you are going to re-sign Thatcher Demko, he's probably going to want like $6 million. But the problem is he hasn't been healthy, so you can't really pay him on past performance because bro's never healthy. Nah, don't be surprised if Edmonton makes a play for Thatcher Demko, and then if I was Edmonton, I would sit him the entire year until game 1 of the playoffs. You rock Calvin Pickard, you rock whoever you have to, but you sit Thatcher Demko every single game, and then in game number 1 of the postseason, you throw him in and make sure he's healthy. That's what the Edmonton Oilers should do, and if they do that right there, they'll definitely be bringing home a Stanley Cup. So we've already made 6 elite selections, and this team's looking like a super team. But the one thing that we do have to remember, every team is technically a super team, so although we think we look absolutely elite right now and no one's going to be able to compete with us, every team can compete with us. I might actually be drafting one of the worst teams and I don't even know it. Like, every team is just superstar on superstar. There's only superstars in the NHL right now. We could potentially be in a little bit of trouble here, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead, draft the rest of our team, and then we'll see what I cooked up at the end. Now, I've been building an absolute super team, but we are probably about $50 million over the salary cap. Actually, I take that back. We are probably about $150 million over the salary cap. But you know what? We built an incredible team here. We're going to finish it off with Velarde, 25 years old, 87 overall. That's a great selection. But what have these teams been doing with the final picks? A lot of them don't make sense. Like, here's the Chicago Blackhawks: McDavid, Pastrnak, Demko, Dahlin, Heiskanen, Jake Getzel. This team is looking elite. Then you look at Detroit. They have a great team too: Cale Makar, Connor Bedard, Kucherov, Hellebuyck. You can't question them. But look at those final couple selections. Like, we have to consider who we were bringing to the team. Like, they drafted a lot of young guys: Will Smith, Ryan Leonard, Caden Lindstrom, Tija Ginla. Like, in the final rounds, we were getting Velarde, Bo Byram, Brad Marchand. Y'all didn't take that route. The Montreal Canadiens, I don't know what y'all were cooking up. The New York Rangers, no clue what you were cooking up either. All I know is the Chicago Blackhawks have by far the best team right now. But whether or not that's going to translate into a couple Stanley Cups over the next 5 years, we're going to find out pretty quick. Alright, now I was about to make a critical mistake here. I was about to trust the coach. I was assuming these lines would make a lot of sense. And you know what? On paper, they do make sense. David Pastrnak, Connor McDavid, Alexander Ovechkin, and an elite first line: Jake Getzel, Tage Thompson, Travis Konechny. That's a pretty solid second line. Not the greatest though, considering what is available. But there's one thing that really threw me off. Let's take a quick look at the defense here. So Miro Heiskanen, Rasmus Dahlin, I'm okay with that. Neil Pionk, Zach Werenski, that makes sense. Adam Pelech, that's a good pickup. Nick Suzuki, why on earth are you playing defensive minutes for us? It's not like we don't have enough defensemen here. We do have enough defensemen. When it comes to goaltending, what is that looking like? Thatcher Demko, Dustin Wolf, I can certainly live with that. Maybe Linus Ullmark should be the backup. We'll figure that out. But yeah, we got to make a couple moves here. Why on earth is Nick Suzuki playing defensive minutes for us? Like, we really have Nick Suzuki playing defensive minutes over Samuel Girard, over Jacob Chikrin, over Brett Pesci. Like, what on earth are we doing here? Like, even a guy like Matt Barzal, no disrespect towards Matt Barzal, but I think I'd rather have Brad Marchand play over him, considering he's 2 overalls higher. So yeah, let me go ahead and fix these lines, because what are we doing here? Now, I went ahead and took Nick Suzuki off our third pairing defense, because that just made no sense whatsoever. When it comes to the rest of this team, though, I mean, we don't have any weaknesses. The offense is great, the defense is great here. Neil Pionk, you're going to play some third pairing minutes. I'm actually contemplating moving you up to the second pairing, because although we don't have a line chemistry boost there, our third pairing gets a massive upgrade, a +5 boost. I think that'll help us a little bit more. And then when it comes to the goaltending on this team, Thatcher Demko, Dustin Wolf, you're going to be the guys for us. When it comes to the AHL, Linus Ullmark, you're going to have to step up when it matters. I mean, to be fair, it's not like our AHL team is bad by any means. Carter Verhaeghe, Rupe Hintz, Matt Barzal, Alex Tuck, Velarde. Then when it comes to the defense, Uyghur, Samuel Girard, Bo Byram. I think this team will survive in the AHL. So let's go ahead and simulate up to the trade deadline. I'm actually not even sure if there's a trade deadline. I guess I should probably find that. I also don't even know how many games we're playing this season. Are we playing a full 82? It looks like it. Yeah, we're going to be playing the same teams quite a bit in this video. Should have I adjusted the schedule? Probably, but you know what? We're not going to worry about it. Let's play the Toronto Maple Leafs 15 different times in this season. While we prepare for the destruction of the Toronto Maple Leafs, though, are you a part of the 60% people that aren't subbed to the channel? Where are you doing? I've mentioned this a handful of times now. If you're not subscribed yet, then you're certainly missing out. Why would I accept this deal? Absolutely not, New York. I'm not accepting that. What are you offering me now? Why would I give up Brad Marchand for a 4th and 6th round pick? Why would I ever do that? But yeah, subscribe to the channel. Oh, now this is interesting. Thomas Harley being thrown on waivers. We don't need Thomas Harley, but that is certainly an interesting player to be placed on waivers. I guess that's one thing I never really considered. My waiver notifications, superstars only. These are the only types of players that are being thrown on waivers. Jake Sanderson, he's thrown on waivers next, 87 overall. I can't claim him. We just can't. So we made to the trade deadline. The Chicago Blackhawks are first in the entire league. I'm actually a little bit surprised at that, because we have to remember every team in the NHL right now is full of superstars. I think I've mentioned that about 17 million times, but I'm going to keep on emphasizing it. Every team is elite right now. So the fact that I still built the best team, it's very interesting. Chicago a 38, 20, and 7 record, but we're going to try to make some trades here. We're going to try to make this team even better, but I don't really know what we could do to make it better. Maybe bring in another superstar defenseman. That wouldn't be that bad. Maybe I should have picked up Jake Sanderson when he was put on waivers, because then we could have used him as a trade piece, and that would have been really useful. Connor McDavid, 78 points, Dave Pastrnak, 67, Alexander Ovechkin, 60. The fact that we only have 2-point-a-game scores on this team is pretty surprising. And then when it comes to goaltending, both of these goaltenders are going against elite talent, so I'm not really surprised the numbers aren't as good as we thought it would be. Thatcher Demko, 24 wins, 5 shots, a 906 and a 310. Considering what the rest of the league looks like and you're leading us in wins right now, these must be pretty solid numbers. But if you're wondering who's on the trade block, this is what we're looking at. Igor Shesterkin, Jacob Markstrom, Sergei Bobrovsky, Anthony Cirelli, Travis Sanheim, Drake Batherson. I'm not going to lie, this is actually a massive disappointment. I thought it was going to be way better. But there is one trade we have to make, because there is one guy I need to bring to this team. No matter what happens here, he will be traded for. He is coming to this team. Now, who exactly am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about one of the best players in the league, one of the top postseason scorers right now. The fact that I haven't found this man is honestly ridiculous. Unless he plays for the Toronto Maple Leafs, his trade value should certainly be pretty high. Robert Thomas. He just picked up a goal on Connor Hellebuyck today. Then again, everybody's scoring on Connor Hellebuyck right now. Robert Thomas, you will join this team. What am I going to have to give up in order to get you? Probably quite a bit. But you know what? We have quite a bit here. So Carter Verhaeghe, you're currently in the AHL. So I'm going to send you over, and I'll even send a 1st round pick over that has a ridiculous amount of trade value. I'll give you this 2nd round pick. Why do these picks have so much value? I have no clue. But Robert Thomas, welcome to the team. Nah, Toronto, y'all are bugging. Why are you not accepting this? You know what? I take it back. I know why our picks have a lot of value now. There's only 6 teams in the league. Like, we're going to have a top 6 pick no matter what. We can win the Stanley Cup and then have a top 6 pick. All of our draft picks have a lot of value. I don't know why I didn't consider that, but here's a 3rd and 4th rounder. Give me Robert Thomas. Y'all will give me this man. The lucrative 7th round picks are now more lucrative than before. No, that's crazy. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think we'd have to do this, but Travis Konechny, I have to trade you. I gotta ship you out here because I need to bring Robert Thomas to the team. Robert Thomas is just that valuable. Toronto is not playing this man in the right role. We all know he should have 100 points. You know what? I think that's enough glazing of Robert Thomas. That's enough glazing of the St. Louis Blues. That's not what this video is about. This video is about 5-peating with the Chicago Blackhawks in this ridiculous NHL that I've constructed. So now that we have an understanding about how valuable draft picks are, Neil Pionk, I'm going to send you over to the Montreal Canadiens. We're bringing in Brock Faber. You guys are pretty similar when it comes to overall overall. But we're also getting a second round pick here, which is guaranteed to be a top 12 pick, meaning we're going to get a medium elite potential player with that pick. I don't hate this deal right here. They're going to be saying no, but I can give you a 7th rounder. And the lucrative 7th round picks have a lot of value, so I don't think it's going to take too much here. A 7th rounder wasn't enough. Hopefully a 6th rounder will be. Is this package going to be enough for Brock Faber in a 2nd rounder? And although we've offered a fair trade, Neil Pionk would have to be thrown on waivers. That's another thing I didn't really consider, which is going to make trades very difficult. A lot of these star players are going to have to be thrown on waivers, and teams won't want to accept deals because of that. So that Robert Thomas trade actually might be the only one we make here, and I think we might be done with trades here. I think we just got to rock with the team we have. We are first in the entire league for a reason, though, so don't sleep on us. So when it comes to the playoffs, of course, the top 4 teams are going to make it. That means the Detroit Red Wings and Montreal Canadiens are both going to be missing out. So that 2nd round pick that we tried to trade for, that would have ended up being the 7th overall pick. We could have brought in a mediumly potential player for that. That would have been a big time pickup for us. But with us making the playoffs, at the very worst, we're getting the 6th overall pick, and we're likely going to end up trading that pick because we got to upgrade this team. Yeah, we have an elite team here, but this team could be even better. And imagine if this team right here was even better than what we have right now. Robert Thomas, what'd you do since we acquired you? 11 points in 17 games. Incredibly disrespectful. We all know Robert Thomas is a point a game player, but I said I was done glazing Robert Thomas. What am I doing here? Thatcher Demko, I will gas you up though. 32 wins, 5 shots, a 910 to 296. You're the best goaltender in the league. NHL 25 Thatcher Demko. This man's not going to let us down. He's going to step up in these big time moments, and he's going to lead us past the Boston Bruins, and then we're going to meet either the Toronto Maple Leafs or the New York Rangers in the Cup final. So Chicago and Boston, 2 great teams here, but I think we're the better team. I thought we were about to get swept, and then I thought we were going to be down 3-1, but we split the series so far. We're dropping game number 5. Are we really going to lose in season 1? Like, I was hoping this team would be able to 5-peat, but we're really about to fall in round number 1. Brad Marchand's picking up back-to-back big goals, so that's going to be helping us. Can we hold it down the 3rd period here? Are we going to be collapsing? We collapsed. Luckily, Rupe Hintz saved the day here. He's forcing overtime. Brad Marchand already has 3 goals in this game. Can he pick up a 4th when it matters? No, we can't, but Jake Getz is going to be picking up the OT winner, and we got game 7. But no, seriously, how are we in game 7? I guess the Boston Bruins are a really good team, but I feel like the Blackhawks are just a bit better. So Chicago and Boston, game 7, this is the big one. The winner makes it to the Stanley Cup final. We're going to be picking up the first goal of the game, and guess who? The man, the myth, the legend, stepping up when it matters. Alexander Ovechkin, he's picking up a goal in the 2nd period, but we got ourselves a tie game entering the 3rd. Great defense and elite offense is what we need here when it matters. And in the 3rd period, we're going to be exchanging goals. So we have overtime once again. Jake Getzel, it's time for you to show up and pick up that OT winner, but it's going to be Alexander Ovechkin instead. I shouldn't have questioned this man. He's a big time goal scorer. He scores big time goals, and we're in the Stanley Cup final. All we have to do is win 4 games in order to make it to this point, and here we are. So we got ourselves the Stanley Cup final. The Chicago Blackhawks taking on the New York Rangers. Can we bring home the cup in year number 1? As long as we have NHL 25 Thatcher Demko, it's always a possibility. Now Chicago, the simplest thing here is just sweep the New York Rangers and we're Stanley Cup champions. Are you going to do that? Yes, you are. And NHL 25 Thatcher Demko is going to pick up a shutout in the final game. He's really the GOAT. Nah, NHL 25 Thatcher Demko feeds families. That man knows when to show up when it matters most. Nick Suzuki, 12 points. Nick Suzuki, he should be a 90 overall, but that's a story for another day. David Pastrnak, 9 points. Jake Getzel, 8. Brad Marchand, 8. Connor McDavid's only picking up 8, so we only had one guy scoring over a point a game here, and that was Nick Suzuki. Also, I want to point out how our first line actually had a negative plus minus. Connor McDavid was -4. That shouldn't have happened. But you know what else shouldn't have happened? Thatcher Demko posting a 926 and a 238. Like, we understand the types of teams that we just went against. And you posted these numbers? Nah, Edmonton, if I'm you, I'm throwing Matt Savoy and 7 first-round picks of Vancouver. You bring in Thatcher Demko, and you do not play him 1 second the entire regular season. You save him for playoffs, and then you'll have a chance. But the Chicago Blackhawks, Stanley Cup champions in year number 1. We're going to be walking away with the 6th overall pick here, and we're about to bring in an elite potential player. But if there is a franchise potential player available here in the draft, we will try to make a move. The Montreal Canadiens are sticking with the 1st overall pick, Detroit's staying with 2nd, and those are your draft lottery results because there was only 2 teams in the lottery. But yeah, I'm low-key hoping that there's a franchise potential player available here, because if there is, we're going to select them. We'll trade up, we'll do whatever we have to, we'll move up in this draft, and we'll walk away with those elite players. Now, it doesn't look like there's a franchise potential player, but we might be walking away with a gem, and that's even better. So we're going to be walking away with a gem. Dane Dunham. He's an offensive defenseman, medium elite potential. This is an elite pickup. Hopefully he develops pretty quick. Now, this is a little bit disappointing. He's only a 75 overall, but if we package him up with something else, we might be able to bring in an elite defenseman. And you know what? We might be okay here, because Braden Coots, I'm pretty sure you still have medium elite potential, so I'm going to draft you. And if I package you up with that medium elite potential player we got in the first round, we might be able to bring in a superstar defenseman. Best case scenario though, Frondell is still available here and we're able to draft him, but it doesn't look like it. Zach Morin's available, and we all know that he has low franchise potential, but we're going to pass on him, and instead we're going to bring in Lakovic instead. I mean, this is a great third round selection. Yakovic, Moose Jaw Warrior, legend, medium top 6 potential, 67 overall. Unfortunately, he's not going to develop quick enough for us, but he could be a good trade asset. Oh yeah, I guess Zach Morin would be available in the 4th round. So we are going to draft him. I said I wasn't going to draft him, but I completely neglected the fact that he still would be available here in the 4th round. So yeah, it's just hit after hit. Now the last 2 rounds weren't anything special for us, but I do know for a fact there's a medium elite potential goaltender, Jack Ivankovic. You are that guy. So I'm going to bring you to the team and I'm going to use you in a trade package. Now so far we've only spent 190 million, so I think we do have a couple more dollars. So Brad Marchand, 5.1 for the next 2 years, you can return to the team. Gabe Velarde, I think we're going to be able to afford you 1.3 for next season. That's an amazing contract, and your trade value will probably go up because of how good of a deal it is. Same with Bo Byram. These 2 guys are signing incredible deals. But yeah, that's the entirety of the re-sign phase. Everyone's always going to come back to this team. So we might not have brought in this player in during the fantasy draft, but Malkin, you can be one of our scouts. I'm okay with that. Alright, so I'm making a new rule on the fly here. I'm only allowed to make 1 free agent signing, and the only reason I'm allowed to make 1 free agent signing is because Mitch Marner is available. I have no clue why this man is available. Why would he not get re-signed? There is no salary cap. Here is 16.6 million. Mitch Marner, welcome to the team. So yeah, that's really the only reason I'm making that rule, is so I can sign Mitch Marner. Now, since I gave Mitch Marner 16.6 million, it only seems fair that Connor McDavid gets more than that. So what is the most money I can actually offer Connor McDavid? The most McDavid can accept is 17.6 million. So that's what he's going to get. Connor McDavid, welcome back. Kopitar, you're looking for 2.8 for some reason. I guess you can have that. I don't know why you wouldn't want more. Adrian Kempe, here's $1 million. Sure, that deal works for me. Alex Tuck, you want 1.4? I can certainly do that. And then NHL 25, Thatcher Demko, you're being brought back to the team as well. 4.9 million for the next 3. So that's less than what you're getting paid right now. That's a ridiculous steal. All right, so we will actually pull off 1 trade. It's going to be Pionk and Zach Warren sent over to the Boston Bruins. Do I think we need Matt Boldy on this team? No, I don't. But I would like Matt Boldy on the team, so we're going to trade for him. We have a lot of defensemen on this team. I don't really think that we need Neil Pionk. So yeah, I think this is going to be a deal that works out for us. Now with the minuscule changes we made to this team, I think we're still going to be one of the best in the entire league. Connor McDavid, Dave Pasternak, and Matt Boldy. Philip Forsberg, Tage Thompson, Mitch Marner on the second line. The bottom 6 is looking amazing. But at face value, you might be wondering where Alexander Ovechkin is. And I'm going to be honest, I am too. I did not realize that Alexander Ovechkin was a healthy scratch for us. I actually have no clue where this man is. Is he in the AHL? Has he fallen off that much? I think Ovi retired. I think Ovi might have retired on us and I didn't even realize it. You know what? If Ovi retired on us, then at least he went out on top. He went out as a Stanley Cup champion. But did that man really retire on us like that? Alexander Ovechkin did indeed retire on us. He won 1 Stanley Cup and said, you know what? I'm done. And you know what? That's actually not the end of the world, because I did select him in like the 27th round. So he certainly didn't cost us anything. He helped us win a Stanley Cup, but now that Ovi's gone, can we win without him? We're going to find out pretty quick. So the Montreal Canadiens are asking for our 2 medium league potential players. Dunham, the man that we drafted 6th overall, and Ivankovic, one of our medium league potential goaltenders, who I believe we drafted in the 7th round. They want to give us 2 third-round picks. Now, 2 third-round picks definitely aren't going to give us those medium league potential players, so I'm obviously not going to accept this, but this kind of goes back to the Brad Marchand deal we got offered in year number 1. That trade, I guess, wasn't as bad as I thought, considering we were getting offered a 2nd-round pick, which would have ended up being like the 8th overall. So they were giving us the 8th overall pick for Brad Marchand. That's not too bad. Boston's going to offer us the exact same deal. I'm not going to accept it. These trades aren't as bad as I thought they were. Okay, this is starting to get a bit ridiculous, but you're also offering me Lindell. I don't need Lindell, and I have to give up a 2nd-round pick. But yeah, that's not a terrible deal. Then again, we were giving up a 2nd-round pick, which is probably going to be like the 12th overall. So the 12th overall pick for Lindell, I don't think that's worth it. Okay, now we might have something here. The Chicago Blackhawks, a 40-20-4 record. We're first in the entire league. We're scoring almost 4 goals per game while only allowing 2.83, by far the best in the entire league. Connor McDavid, of course, is lighting the lamp. He's got 81 points. Matt Boldy, 62. Dave Pasternak, 61. Tage Thompson, 56. Brad Marchand, 54. But there is somebody who I just saw on the trade block, and I wouldn't mind on trading for him because I think if we're able to trade for him, we might be able to pull off a massive move. Thatcher Demko, he's elite right now. The Rangers are offering us Michael Matheson. How much trade value does he have? Because if he has a lot of trade value, I might bring him on. Michael Matheson does not have that high of trade value. So yeah, we're not going to be making that move. Sveshnikov, okay, we could trade for you. And I'd be okay with that. We're going to try to pull off some big moves here. But this is the guy that I was originally looking at. Marty Necas. I think we can trade for him. He's on the trade block now. Our first round pick should have more value, which it does. If I give you this first round pick and a couple of those elite potential players I've been drafting, can we pull off a deal? Also, Nick Suzuki's trade value is incredibly high. Okay, hold on. Marty Necas, we might not be trading for you anymore. Where is Cale Makar? I'm okay with losing Nick Suzuki if we're able to bring in Cale Makar here. So a first rounder and Nick Suzuki sent over to the Red Wings. Give me Cale Makar. I don't care what it costs. Why would I do this deal? We're exchanging third round picks. That's just stupid. So they're saying no to that. I'll give you a prospect. I know we have some prospects on this team. We should be able to get this deal done. So here's what I'm thinking. Adrian Kempe and Dunham are going to be sent over to the Maple Leafs. We bring in Lane Hudson. If I package Lane Hudson alongside Nick Suzuki, we might be closer for Cale Makar. How about you give me a third rounder back as well? Like, you don't really want that third round pick, so we might be able to do this. They're saying no. I want one draft pick at least. So how about you give me a 6th round pick that has a little bit of value? They're going to be rejecting that. I don't care about the picks anymore. Just give me Lane Hudson. Now we're going to go back over to the Detroit Red Wings and we're going to get a deal done. They offered me Brandon Carlo and I didn't accept it. What am I doing here? All right, now this is a bit of a last-ditch effort. Coots, a first, second, and Ivan Kovic sent over to the Bruins for Marty Necas. They're accepting that. This is it. This is the best package I can do. Marty Necas, Nick Suzuki, Lane Hudson, Samuel Girard, and a 2nd round pick for Cale Makar. They still won't accept this. I can't do anything more than this. I really can't. So we're not going to be able to pull off any trades because the Detroit Red Wings are greedy and they won't accept this no matter what. I hate Detroit. Detroit's the ops now. They just won't help me out. Oh yeah, by the way, we lost Tage Thompson. He got thrown on waivers and he got claimed. So Tage Thompson is no longer on this team. We lost him for nothing. Ain't no way. Okay, so I was about to talk about how it's unfortunate we couldn't pull off a Cale Makar deal. The Montreal Canadiens didn't even score 3 goals per game this season. And they didn't have a superb offense. But Montreal had an average defense and the worst offense, yet they somehow finished 2nd in the entire league. I don't know how that works. But Montreal's here. They're ready to compete. Can they compete with the Chicago Blackhawks? Of course not, because we have the greatest team of all time here. We have spent borderline $200 million to construct this team right here. And what has it given us? Robert Thomas with 55 points and he's -3. You can't make stuff like that up. Like, seriously. $200 million. And out of all the players on this team, out of all the money we've spent, Robert Thomas is -3. Nah, this game actually hates me. I am fully convinced this game just hates me in particular when it comes to respecting Robert Thomas. We're taking on the Rangers in the first round. We took them on the Stanley Cup final last season. We took them down to sweep. Let's do the same here. I feel like the more I talk about Robert Thomas, the worse he performs. Like, if I talk about Robert Thomas a lot and gas him up, he just doesn't show up. We split the series so far with the New York Rangers. We're moving into game number 5. We're going to be taking that one 6-0. Show it to Thatcher Demko. NHL 25 Thatcher Demko showing up, but he's not showing up in game number 6, so we got game 7 elimination. We're looking to go back-to-back here. We can't afford to lose in game 7. So game 7 against the Rangers, who's going to show up when it matters? Barbershev's picking up a goal, but Miro Heisting's got a shorty. Moving into the second period, Brad Marchand's picking up the shorthanded goal. Lane Hudson's got one, Matt Boldy's got one, but it's still a 1-goal game entering the third. This could really go either way. We got to play some elite defense, and you know what? We are playing elite defense. But show to Nick Suzuki with 57 seconds left in the game. He's going to pot the winner, and we're moving on to the Stanley Cup final. With 57 seconds left, Nick Suzuki showing up when it matters. You'll love to see it. Now, we might only have 4 teams in the playoffs, but I don't care if we have 16 teams, 32 teams, or even 4 teams. We're not losing to the Maple Leafs in the playoffs. We're in the Stanley Cup final, taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't care if it's 4 teams, 3 teams, 2 teams, or 1 team. We're not losing to the Maple Leafs. We've lost 3 in a row. I'm sick. Like, we can't do this. We can't fold to the Toronto Maple Leafs of all teams. That can't happen here. It's going to be a scoreless first period. Moving into the second, our offense is finally waking up here as it should be. Ain't no way Austin Matthews is on the Toronto Maple Leafs. No way that worked out. You're telling me we did a fantasy draft and you can draft any player you want, and the Toronto Maple Leafs said, nah, we still want to take Austin Matthews. We want to make sure he retires as a Maple Leaf and he's on this team all the time. There's no way that worked out. And okay, hold on. We have to look at the Toronto Maple Leafs team. No way they have William Nylander as well. What is going on? Who is on this team? William Nylander, Barkov, Busnevich, Panarin, Sam Reinhart's here, Austin Matthews is here, Adrian Kempe is here because we made a trade with them. No way they have Austin Matthews and William Nylander, and then they have Brady Tkachuk. I feel like that one's really fitting. Who's in between the pipes? They have Sorokin in the Otter. Nah, ain't no way you have Austin Matthews and William Nylander. How did that work out? Like the odds of the Toronto Maple Leafs getting both of those players and the CPU actually drafting both of those players for the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's going to be incredibly unlikely. But we're in Game 7 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's time for us to show up and shut up. It's time for us to show up and show out, and that's what we're doing, picking up 4 goals in the first period. The Toronto Maple Leafs might be responding in the second, but it's not enough. We just need elite defense for 20 minutes here, and we're Stanley Cup champions. Where did our defense go? All right, we need another OT hero. Who's going to be the OT hero this time around? Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid's going to be winning it for the Chicago Blackhawks. We're going back to back, but this was a stressful postseason. Toronto put a lot of pressure on us. We were down 3-1 at one point, but then we remembered it's the Toronto Maple Leafs, and since drafting Austin Matthews, they're 1-12 in series clinching games. So it's no surprise that we won. No, but that's a wild stat, isn't it? I feel like we don't talk about that enough. 1-12 in series clinching games. That means in 13 different instances, you were 1 game away from advancing. And out of those 13 different occasions, you lost 12 times. That is wild. Like, imagine not showing up that consistently. Like, that's crazy. Connor McDavid was -2. Like bro just continues to have a negative plus-minus in the postseason. I don't really get that. David Pastrnak was -3. But we did have 2 point-a-game scorers this time instead of 1. Brad Marchand and Mitch Marner. But the real question is, how good was Thatcher Demko this time around? Not nearly as good. 8 wins, 1 shutout, an 899 to 322. Nothing comparable to what he did in year number 1. In year number 1, Thatcher Demko was just a different beast. Like, look at these numbers. No, they just don't make any sense. The Chicago Blackhawks have won back-to-back. We're 2 for 2 so far. All we have to do is win 3 more. Can't be that difficult. I'm not going to lie, at this point, I'm just waiting for somebody to drop in the lottery. I want to see the worst team in the entire league drop to the 2nd overall pick. I'm assuming it's possible. It might not be, but that would be really funny. All right, so we all know it's the Gavin McKenna draft here, and I am going to trade for Gavin McKenna. We are going to make sure this man joins the team. Well, I'm actually not trading for Gavin McKenna. I'm just going to trade for the 1st overall pick, and I really don't think it should be that difficult. I will give you almost all of our draft picks. Like, I will give you 5 straight rounds of draft picks, and you give me the 1st overall pick. They're saying no to that. I guess we have to go with a player. So hopefully this package right here is enough for the 1st overall. Gavin McKenna, welcome to the team. And that means Cale Makar is coming to this team because we are flipping Gavin McKenna. I want Cale Makar. I do not care what it costs. We are finally getting the deal I always wanted done. Gavin McKenna, thank you for the 30 seconds you were on this team. But now we're getting the player I always wanted. Cale Makar, welcome to the team. What else do you need? I'll give you a 4th round pick on top of that, which is the 24th overall. They want a little bit more. I'll give you the lucrative 7th round pick, which is the 42nd overall. Cale Makar, welcome to the team. We finally got the guy we've been looking for. It took a long time to finally get that deal done, but we've got it done. Cale Makar has joined the team. Nah, things are looking amazing for us now. The draft outside of McKenna was a bust for us, but who cares? We got Gavin McKenna, flipped him for Cale Makar, and we have the greatest team of all time now. Now we have some extensions that we have to hand out here. Marty Nate is going to be getting one of them. $5.6 million for the next 3, but I don't want to give you a no movement clause. I might want to trade you in the future. So if I take that away and just up it to $5.7 million, would you be accepting that? More than likely, and it looks like he will be. Okay, what am I looking at here? Velarde, $775K on a 2-year contract. It's a 2-way contract, but you want 25% team protection in your 2nd year. This is a 2-way contract. I didn't even think 2-way players could get trade protection, but apparently they can. Sean Monahan, Sean Couturier, both you guys are going to be walking. I'm not bringing you back to the team. Dustin Wolf, I will bring you back though. You're looking for $775K for the next 2 years. That works for me. So everyone's returning to the team, and how much money have we spent so far on our team? $200 million. Yeah, we've spent a bag. So we went ahead and re-signed everybody, but now we have to give out extensions. I'm just going to give everyone what they're asking for. Whether we're getting fleeced or not, everyone's returning to the team. Now last season I made a rule where I'm allowed to sign 1 free agent per year. I'm going to change that rule here. I'm allowed 1 free agent signing in the entire video. Like, if I were to bring Artemi Panarin into the team, that's a 93 overall. It's going to be a significant upgrade. Yeah, Mitch Marner is going to be the only free agent signing. Because now that I'm thinking about it, 1 free agent signing per year, no, that's a bit OD. Now this is a glorious sight right here. Line chemistry, +5 on the first line, +5 on the second, +5 on the third, +5 on the fourth. We're getting a +5 boost to every line. No, I never thought I would see the day. Ignore the defense, like they don't have good line chemistry except for that second pairing, but it doesn't matter with the amount of elite talent on this team. And NHL 25 Thatcher Demko between the pipes, we could be looking at a 75-win season. Now, I guess this team isn't nearly as good as I thought we were. We're second in the entire league, but I do have to point out we've played 6 less games than the New York Rangers, and we're only 3 points back of them. So more than likely by the end of the season, we are going to be passing the Rangers. We're being offered a trade here. I'm immediately taking every draft pick off this. We're taking every draft pick off the trade block right now. Last trade deadline, I was offered probably 50 trades. It was absolutely ridiculous. Connor McDavid right now has 66 points. David Pastrnak 56. Robert Thomas 55. So he's having a really good season. Matt Boldy 49. But I think we have to make an improvement to this team. I think we need to make the defense a little bit better here. So we're going to make a big time trade. This trade likely won't be possible. And I can almost guarantee we don't make this trade. But Quinn Hughes, what do I have to give up in order to get you? Like, Matt Boldy's trade value is actually really high, and so is Samuel Girard's. Samuel Girard, unfortunately, we can't trade away here, but maybe I could flip Girard somewhere else. How about you give me a first, second rounder and Matt Duchene, I give you Samuel Girard. They're willing to say yes to that, so I'm going to do that deal right there. And because that pick had a lot of value, we might be able to get Quinn Hughes with our next trade. So it's going to be Marty Necas, 2 first rounders and a second round pick for Quinn Hughes. Is that enough? Yes, it is. Quinn Hughes, welcome to the team. Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar are going to be playing alongside each other. We have the best defense in the entire league by far. But you know what? We need a replacement for Marty Necas. And you know what? I don't think it's going to be too difficult to find. So we're going to send Bo Byram and Matt Barzal over to the Boston Bruins. And we're going to try to bring in Jason Robertson. We're also going to take on Alex Pietrangelo just so we can make the rosters work here. But is Matt Barzal and Bo Byram going to be enough here? Yes, it is. But then Cale Makar is going to be moved down. Oh, we're definitely not doing that. Okay, we have to trade somebody in the NHL. So how about we do this? Matt Barzal, Bo Byram, and Matt Duchene for Jason Robertson. They're accepting that, and we don't have to put anyone on waivers. That was the ideal situation. Bo Byram, welcome back to the team. You're being claimed. I have to place you on waivers now, so you might get claimed. Bo Byram, you have been claimed by the Chicago Blackhawks, who is us. We claimed our own player, I guess. Did he get sent down? No, he didn't. He got claimed by somebody. I don't know who he got claimed by. That was interesting. Now, with the team I built, I didn't think it would be possible for us not to finish first in the entire league, but here we are, second in the entire league. The Rangers are going to be beating us. They had a 49-28-5 record. We had a 48-28-6 record, 1 point back of the Rangers. Now, you got to give respect where respect is due. The Rangers were incredible this season. They were somehow better than the Chicago Blackhawks, and I built the greatest team imaginable. Connor McDavid, Quinn Hughes, David Pastrnak, Matt Boldy, Robert Thomas, Mitch Marner, Jake Getzel, Brad Marchand, Anze Kopitar. We had Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes playing together. You can't ask for a better defense than that. We have NHL 25 Thatcher Demko, 35 wins, 2 shouts, a 909 and 284. This team is superb, but apparently it wasn't good enough. We're taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. They want to get revenge because of what happened last postseason. Chicago better be ready. Like, we can't sleep on the Toronto Maple Leafs here. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to show up. Just kidding. NHL 25 Thatcher Demko, back-to-back shutouts. We have a 3-1 series lead. The Leafs are complete and utter frauds here. We've lost back-to-back games. We're not losing 3 in a row. We have lost 3 in a row. Are we really going to blow a 3-0 series lead to the Toronto Maple Leafs of all teams? Like, there is no way that's happening. There is no way we're blowing a 3-1 series lead to the Toronto Maple Leafs of all teams. Robert Thomas is picking up 2 goals in the third period. The big time players are showing up and we're winning this one 3-1. But that was way too close. Toronto should have beat us there. But when it mattered most, we found a way to win. So it looks like we get a rematch of year number 1. The Chicago Blackhawks taking on the New York Rangers. But this time we're not the best team in the entire league. The New York Rangers are. So we better be prepared for a tough fight here. What we just did against the Toronto Maple Leafs, that can't happen again. So it's time for us to lock in. The Rangers are going to be putting up a tough fight. That's tough. Yeah, that's real tough. We got swept. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I really don't. Now, it looks like it has finally happened. The Detroit Red Wings are going to be dropping to the 2nd overall pick. Boston's moving up to 1, and that means they're going to get the honor of drafting Landon DuPont. That certainly worked out for them. All right, so we're going to pull off a big-time deal here. Matt Boldy, thank you for the amazing years. Your trade value's gone through the roof, but we got to change things up here. Boston, you're going to give me the 1st overall pick. You're going to give me Landon DuPont. And then I'm going to flip Landon DuPont. I'll take on one of the lowest value players on your team, which is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. His contract's expiring, that's why he has no value. But I'll give you Matt Boldy for the 1st overall. You're saying no to that? I'll give you a couple draft picks. Because when we get this deal done, we're going to bring in a superstar. Here's a 3rd round pick, which is the 17th overall. That's going to be enough for Landon Dupont. So we're going to bring in Landon Dupont here. He's going to have franchise potential, and we're immediately flipping him. And who exactly are we going to get for Landon Dupont? Connor Bedard. Connor McDavid on the same team together. We have Cale Makar as well. There is no weaknesses on this team whatsoever. We can't go 1 for 1, but I'll just throw in a couple draft picks. Here's a 7th rounder and a 6th rounder, and Connor Bedard will be joining the team. Now we have a super team here. So let's just go ahead and re-sign all the players that we have to. Quinn Hughes, here's $15 million for the next 6 seasons. Jason Robertson, you're going to get an absolute deal as well. You're going to be getting $3.3 million for the next 3 years because that makes sense for an 89 overall. Nugent Hopkins and Nazar, I'll let you guys walk and they'll sign these rookies. Brad Marchand, you played some amazing seasons for us. Now you're a scout. Welcome to the club. Now between him and Malkin, we got an elite core. Also, this isn't the right Lucic. It's a different Lucic. Just thought I'd point that out. We got Michael Lucic. Now, I don't think we're going to do anything over the offseason other than re-signing players, so I'm going to go ahead and do all that, and then we're going to jump right into next season. Now, last season was certainly a huge disappointment, but you know what? We made a couple moves over the offseason. We brought in Connor Bedard, and the team's still looking incredible here. Jake Getzel, you're going to play some top-line mids alongside Connor McDavid and Dave Pastrnak. These guys should be able to produce alongside each other. When it comes to the defense, Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar is our top pairing. Enough said. That is an elite first pairing. Nobody should be able to stop that. And as long as we have Thatcher Demko in between the pipes, we're always going to be one of the top teams. Now, the Chicago Blackhawks are where they belong. First in the entire league, a 42-20-4 record. We have 10 more wins than the second closest team. I guess it's technically 9 more wins because Montreal's in 3rd. That's beside the point. The Chicago Blackhawks right now are the best team in the entire league. We have a ton of elite players here. Mitch Marner is -4. How on earth are you -4? I will never understand the plus minuses here, but we're never going to worry about it. Thatcher Demko, the numbers aren't great. I'm not gonna lie. Do not offer me trades. Why on earth would I do this? Give up a medium top 6 potential player and a 2nd round pick to move back in the draft. I am moving back in the draft. I am giving you more assets to move back in the draft. That just doesn't make any sense. Thatcher Demko's numbers weren't that great, but you know what? We're not going to change anything here. There isn't really any trades we can make because there's so many players with no movements and no trades. It would be impossible to get anything done here. It's either they have no movements or no trades, or everyone's trade value is just way too high. Like looking at the Boston Bruins, we can't trade for McKinnon, Adam Fox, and Jack Hughes. We just wouldn't be able to get that done. Matthew Tkachuk has a no movement. The best we could go for is Matt Boldy, but he was on this team last season. So yeah, we're not going to make any trades here. We're just going to stick with the team we have, which is a Stanley Cup caliber team if you ask me. So we're going to finish the season out strong. First in the entire league, a 52-23-7 record, but the Boston Bruins are starting to put a little bit of pressure on us. They're only 6 wins back. We can't sleep on this team. We can't take any team lightly. So far in every postseason matchup, except for that one sweep over the New York Rangers, they've all been competitive. Mitch Marner, you finished the season -12. Robert Thomas -17. Our second line is really bad for no reason. Robert Thomas, 94 overall. Mitch Marner, 93 overall. The other guy on the second line with those 2 players, Connor Bedard, who is -17 and had 37 points. Bro, what? What are you doing out there? He is going for a skate and doing nothing else. You gotta produce. We're taking on the Montreal Canadiens in the first round. I'm a little bit concerned. I mean, I shouldn't be concerned. The Montreal Canadiens won 39 games this season. We're better than a 39-win team, but we allowed 7 goals. Are we about to get swept? Ain't no way. All right, so we gotta make a big comeback in this series. I don't even understand how we're down in this series, and I don't understand how these games are so close. Montreal won 39 games. Luckily, we're gonna be winning this one, but this was way too close. So we've won back-to-back games. We still have to win another 2 in a row. Like, we were really down 3-0 in the series. Absolutely ridiculous. This Chicago team is by far the best in the entire league. But you know what? We're finally showing up here. We have a 2-goal lead entering the 3rd period. We should be able to hold on to it. Thatcher Demko's starting to make some saves. Demko struggled in those first 3 games, but you know what? Since then, he's been pretty solid. But I need one more great performance out of him. We got to win Game 7. Lucas Raymond's picking up the first goal of the game. Montreal's going to pick up another one. The second period is going to be Leon Draisaitl. We got to show up in the 3rd. Connor McDavid, Connor Bedard, Robert Thomas, Mitch Marner, Dave Pastrnak. Someone's got to find the back of the net here, and it's going to be Leon Draisaitl. For the first time in this video, we're going to be falling in the first round. No, that's a sight you hate to see. Now, that was certainly a disappointing loss for the Chicago Blackhawks, and on top of that, the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to close it out in 5 games. That makes it even worse. But you know what? We have one more year, one more chance to win a Stanley Cup, and if you were to ask me what changes am I going to make to this team, none. Like, I'm not making any changes. We're going to rock this exact same team next season because we're elite. Like, this team is really good. They just couldn't find the back of the net when it mattered most. I think that kind of sums it up. They also lost the first 3 games of a series, and that definitely doesn't help you. But yeah, we'll be back. So we got one last run here. Connor McDavid, Dave Pastrnak, Jake Getzel, Connor Bedard, Robert Thomas, Mitch Marner. This forward core is good enough to win. This defensive core, more than good enough to win. And when it comes to goaltending, 90 overall Thatcher Demko, you've won with us in the past. You gotta get me one more here. We gotta walk away with one more Stanley Cup. No way we're only winning 2 in the first 2 seasons. Also, I'm incredibly confident with this team. We're not stopping at the trade deadline, directly to the end of the season. So in our final season, the Chicago Blackhawks, once again first in the entire league, a 50-25-7 record. We are significantly better than every team in the NHL right now, but we have to remember, last season Montreal won 39 games and they upset us in the first round. It can't happen again. Mitch Marner, you're -4. Why does this continue to happen? Connor Bedard was +2, so at least he had a positive plus-minus. Robert Thomas -5. I don't understand how y'all don't have a positive plus-minus. 94 overall. 94 overall. What's Mitch Marner? He's probably a 94 as well. So we have 3 94 overalls on the second line, but they just don't produce alongside each other. Doesn't really make sense. We have everything we would need there, and it just doesn't work. Thatcher Demko, 39 wins, 1 shutout, a 902 and a 315. Your numbers haven't been great, but considering what the rest of the league looks like, those numbers must be pretty good. We have Montreal again in the first round. We're getting our revenge. If we don't get our revenge, then something stupid happened. We're not folding to the Montreal Canadiens again. We are going to take this team down. We're going to sweep the Montreal Canadiens, and we're moving on to the Stanley Cup final. That is the worst way to end this video. We really did that. We reset the NHL to the original 6, and we had every player available in the NHL with no salary cap on. We got the 2nd overall pick, and by some miracle, Connor McDavid dropped to the 2nd overall pick. But even with all of that, after winning 2 straight Stanley Cups, we completely folded. We lost in the Stanley Cup final, and then back-to-back first round exits to the Montreal Canadiens, and the final one was a sweep. You can't make that up. No way that just happened.